Hey, everybody. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Let me just make sure that I am going live on my page. Every day is a new learning experience over here on Facebook. So here we go. Good. Um, Great. Awesome. Okay. Hello. I have people joining me. If you are joining me live, definitely say hello. Let me know that you're here. And if you're watching in replay, definitely let me know that you're watching in replay. Today we are talking about micro habits, and this is a topic I am incredibly fascinated with, not only from the perspective of working with staging clients, but also from running a business. Because the one thing that I noticed very first about micro habits in my business was how to get people to be successful in staging their houses was by giving them bite-sized things to do in a task that seemed overwhelming. So, and I call those fractions of actions when I'm working with staging clients. But then I realized when I started to learn more about business building how micro habits really come into play. And it's so fascinating because micro habits are employed by the Navy SEALs, most branches of the military, most successful entrepreneurs, athletes. The British Cycling Society, up until 2003, they hadn't won an Olympic gold medal since 1908, and they had never won Tour de France since its inception, 110 years. And in 2003, they hired someone new, a new team coach, who literally wanted to improve everything that they did by 1%. So he looked at everything. He looked at the equipment. He looked at the interior of the vans that transported the equipment. He looked at every aspect of his athlete's performance, and he looked for a 1% improvement in everything that they did. And within 5 years of bringing him on, they started to see results. In 2008, they won 60% of the gold medals available to their team at the Beijing Games. By 2015, they won their first Tour de France in over 110 years. Then they won it again in 2016 and 2017, just kind of proving that you don't need to make massive changes to see success in your business. So I'm going to talk today about kind of the theory behind habits and neuroscience. And a lot of what I've learned is by reading books, The Compound Effect, James Clear's Atomic Habits, and learning what I learn about, know about neuroscience, but also what I have employed in my own life and in my own business. So the first thing that I think that is important to understand is that we make choices every day. And the thing about the choices that we make on a daily basis is very often we are making those choices from our prefrontal cortex. And I mean, from our primitive brain, not our prefrontal cortex, from our primitive brain. And our primitive brain is kind of what I call like our mac and cheese brain. It's there to serve us in the present moment, to give us comfort, give us the easiest path, the least resistance to living our lives. But the beautiful thing is that as humans, we have the prefrontal cortex, which we can leverage. And I'm going to talk about how we do that a little bit later. But the thing is that we don't need to do massive, big, audacious things to lead to success. It's these little tiny things. And I think that's so beautifully illustrated by a commencement speech given by General Stanley McCraven at the University of Texas at Austin a few years ago. And he talked about how you can change the world with the choices that you make on a daily basis. And his very first thing that he told the students to do to change their world and to have success was to make their bed, because it's something that the Navy SEALs employ in their training, in their, their basic training. It's making the bed, because then you have checked off the first task of the day, which sets up momentum for the next tasks of the day. This is a beautiful speech. If you haven't heard it or read it, I definitely recommend it, because he gives a lot of these fractions of actions, these micro habits. But anyway, getting back to the fact that your primitive brain is usually in charge of your daily, regular, in the moment decision making. That's the part of the brain that tells us that, you know what you should do, but it's not really what you want to do in the moment. I don't feel like it. It's the part of your brain that tells you that you're confused. You're not sure what the next step is. It's the part of the brain that tells you that you don't have the right things in place to accomplish it. All of those little things that pop up in your brain as you go to do something, whether it's something in your personal life or in your business, that prevent you from taking action, that's your mac and cheese brain speaking to you. So, and this is totally normal, by the way, totally normal. Because for our survival, going back to our survival, our motivation, honestly, and our brain's motivation is to conserve energy. It's to conserve energy for essential decision making things, for life saving decisions. So, our real, true brain's motivation in many aspects is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. But we don't need that to be in control. So it's important to know that, but it's important to understand how we can actually shift and start operating from our prefrontal cortex. But the mistake that a lot of us make is that we start with the way that we set our goals. So the way that most of us set our goals is really about outcomes, right? So you want to lose X number of pounds. You want to make X number of dollars. You want to have X number of appointments on your calendar in a given day. And these are all amazing goals to set. We do these like 90-day goals and things like that. But the problem is that our brains are wired for an instant feedback loop. And so what happens when we set an outcome goal, we don't get the automatic feedback loop that is associated with the actions, those fractions of actions and micro habits that send you on your way to that path. So we need to actually start leveraging a little bit more of the neuroscience in order to help us achieve the goals we actually want, right? So if the goal is, in fact, we want to lose X number of pounds, we actually have to back that up a bit and say, okay, well, what do I need to do on a daily basis, right? So kind of dialing it back all the way to the micro. What do I need to do on, an hourly basis in order to make this happen, to stick to my food plan, to stick to my marketing plan, to create the social media posts, to reach out and make the sales calls to the clients, right? But our brain is actually wired to create habits too. So here's the thing about that. Our brain actually wants efficiency. It wants a beautiful, elegant, simple solution, whether that is it benefits our future businesses and our future selves, or whether it does not. So the thing is that when your brain realizes there is a cue that is then answered with a craving that the brain can resolve and have a dopamine rush with, it just starts working in that loop. And we all have these loops, these patterns, whether they serve us or they don't, that our brain is just actually working on autopilot. In fact, when we create a habit, when we're in the work of creating a habit, our brain is working much harder than once that habit has been created. The energy use of the brain actually goes down, and that's what it wants. Your brain wants its energy use to be low so that it can, again, save its energy for the more important essential kinds of things. So it's like a mental shortcut. So your brain is looking for a mental shortcut and the cues that initiate that habit. So what James Clear talks about when we're talking about how we can form a new habit is he talks about 4 things, and I'm adding a 5th today, so it's 4 plus 1. He talks about the fact that in order to create any new habit, you need to make it obvious, you need to make it attractive, you need to make it easy, you need to make it satisfying, and you need to make a plan, and this is my addition, make a plan for grace as you implement. He talks about that in his business, but in his book, but he doesn't talk about it as an actual framework, and I think it's incredibly important because one of the things that we can do is we can derail ourselves when we slip off the wagon just the tiniest bit. So I want to talk about that in a minute too. So let's apply this to your business, okay? So making it obvious. So one of the things that I did not realize in my business was the need to create a weekly framework around how I operated my business. The only thing I had consistent in my business in the very beginning, to be completely frank with you, was that the person who helped me create my website wanted me to put out a blog post on a weekly basis, and she was a subscriber on my email list. So, and accountability is an important part of habit creation. And we had agreed that I would send my email out every Tuesday morning. So, because she was on my email list, every Monday I sat down and I wrote my blog post to go out every Tuesday morning. So, I was creating consistency and a habit there. The problem was I didn't have consistency around anything else because she had given me the framework and I did not have a framework for anything else. So, for the rest of the week, I would sit at my desk and not really know what I should be doing, who I should be reaching out to, what were the activities that I needed to do because I was new in business. So I really didn't have any kind of framework. So the first thing that you'll want to do is you're going to want to set a weekly framework for yourself. So I have talked about this with my students. I do marketing Mondays, and that is an evolution from writing that blog post on Tuesdays. So marketing Mondays, and you even have to get more granular than that. So what happens on marketing Mondays? Um, Marketing Mondays could mean that you're going to reach out to 5 new real estate offices or 5 new realtors specifically, or you're going to explore networking groups. Like, you want to get even granular about what is going to happen on those. And I'll talk about that in a minute, how you can do that. So that's one thing. Financial Fridays is another thing that I have in my business. And on Friday mornings, starting at 9, I have 2 hours that I block off for this. I go through my financials and I, make any adjustments I need to make. I enter any expenses that I need to make. That is Financial Friday time. So, and then some weeks it's paying bills or, reaching out to my assistant and asking her to pay bills. So there is that component of structure. So when I sit down to my desk on a Monday or a Friday, I don't need to think about what I'm doing. I know what it is, and then at the beginning of the week, I map out what are the activities that need to happen in those under those things. It's called Monday Hour 1, and you do a big download of all the things you want to accomplish for the week, and then I plug them in on the days and the activities where they go. So that's about deciding ahead of time, because that is from your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is your planning brain. It is your future planner. So when you have decided ahead of time, the nice thing is that your brain in the moment does not need to decide what you do. The other thing that on a daily basis, you can help your brain create new habits is by creating a practice of writing down the top 3 things you want to accomplish for the day. So make these, very high level, what will move your business forward. But you want to identify what those 3 things are so that as you work through your day, you have those to fall back on so that you don't actually have to think again or make a new decision about what happens during your day. So a great tool to use for this is either a journal or the Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. It is a great tool to use for organizing those thoughts of what you're going to do for the day of, and making up the plan the night ahead of time. So that's the other key, and that's what Navy SEALs do. They call it the plan of the day, and it is set from the day before. So when you wind down your work day, another great habit to get into is the practice of planning what comes next. So making it obvious. So creating your structure so that you don't have to think about it. And sure, are there going to be times that your brain is going to be like, ugh, I don't feel like writing a blog post today. I do not feel like calling people. Yes, absolutely. You will have those moments. And we're going to talk about having grace for yourself, but also maybe there's something you can do to actually push yourself through that moment. And we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Hey, I see people popping in. That's so great. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing great. I know I'm babbling on and on. The next thing is, so you want to, in order to have a habit, you want to make it obvious. So again, in your personal life, that could be like, for a period of time, I told people before when I wanted to get into a workout plan, I actually slept in my workout clothes. My husband loved that, let me tell you. But it could be putting your sneakers out. It could be, kind of just having your journal out by your bed to make sure you write your notes in the morning, or out on your desk, or where you grab your coffee, that kind of thing. The next thing is make it attractive. So this is kind of like linking 2 habits that you do together, or adding something that you already enjoy to the experience. So let me give you an example of this. So making marketing outreach calls or connecting with your your email list and creating emails. Sometimes that can feel overwhelming. So if you have that on your marketing Monday, one of the things that you can do, which I do, is I like to link it with something pleasant. And I do this with my Financial Fridays too, to make it enjoyable. I love listening to music, and I've learned over the years that I have music that I like to work to, some of it for writing, some of it for doing other things. So what I will do when I have to do my Financial Fridays is because I don't always love having to get into my books and all that stuff. It's just not my, I want to be creative. I put on the spa channel on Pandora. Yes, I'm old school. I listen to Pandora. But I have linked something that I enjoy, and I have my coffee. I've got my music. For you, it might be lighting a candle. It might be having something beautiful and fresh flowers, so that I will sit down and I make it like a ritual. So it's attractive for me to sit down and actually do that work. Maybe it could be for you when after I pour my coffee and I sit down at my desk, I'm going to open up my list of contacts and reach out to, 5 people today. And I would suggest that you should even plan out who those exact 5 people are ahead of time, but at least as you're getting to create a habit, you want to start by just making it attractive enough that your brain will be like, oh yeah, like I do want to do that, because it becomes that attractive. So that is the next thing. And then it's make it easy. Making it easy is about teeny tiny, super easy, simple goals. And it's also about that deciding ahead of time and priming your environment. So when I say like fractions of actions, I truly mean that. So if you are new to marketing your business, and it's not something that you're familiar with, the first thing I would say is I wouldn't start with saying I'm going to call 10 people on a Friday or send 10 emails out to prospective clients. I would start with just one and leave it at that. So if you do one call, you have accomplished the goal. And I told the story to my students before that when I also got back into working out, I not only dressed in my workout clothes, but I also gave myself permission to work out 1 to 3 days a week. And in those 1 to 3 days a week, I actually said if I work out for 4 minutes, because that's how deconditioned I was, that that was success, that I had accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. So you can apply the same thing to your business. So if it's social media posts, maybe I talk about the concept of batching and doing a lot of those at one time, but maybe for you, the best place to start is just simply by writing a social media post, right? Like that's it. And then thinking about where else can I put this particular social media post? Can I actually add this to my Instagram story or my Facebook story? Or can I create an image for it and put it on Pinterest or something like that? So start with like baby tiny steps and make sure that you do it daily. So if it's Marketing Monday, and start with the smallest habit, making one marketing phone call, sending one marketing email, creating one social media post, and that is success for that particular day. Once you get into it, the thing that you'll find, and it's interesting because Jerry Seinfeld has talked about this, but once you have checked that box and you've done it, and you've got it under your belt, it's often momentum to do it again. Jerry Seinfeld talks about the concept of opening up a calendar and writing an X on the calendar. And somebody asked him, how do you get good at doing stand-up? And he said, the way you get good at stand-up is by writing a joke every single day and making an X on the calendar. And he said, when I look at that calendar, I don't want to break the chain. So in order to not break the chain that I have established, I will write a joke every day. And you can do the same thing with your marketing. So maybe your marketing happens the first hour of each day so that you can create a chain and develop the habit. And the cool thing about that is as you build that habit, like we said, the energy required to get it done goes down significantly because your brain is finding the shortcut for you. And so does it mean that you'll always know what to do when you sit down? No, but it means you'll be able to get things done faster because you are slowly building those marketing muscles in your business. So again, that's about deciding ahead of time, creating what the framework is, what you will accomplish, making it a micro habit, and then priming your environment, like we said, making it very obvious that that is what you're going to do that day. So if you are going to be writing a social media post, maybe it's as simple as having, Instagram or Facebook open on your computer when you sit down to it, so that it is there, you see it, it's the first thing that pops into your head, so you know that's what you're going to be doing. It could be a cue, though, where you say, okay, when I put my music on, then that means it's my cue. For me, I always tell my students that the cue for me to work out now has become that I start playing what the workout of the day is. So even though my brain is going to say it's rainy outside, I don't feel like it. Oh, hey guys, hi, everybody saying hi, hello. So that is my brain's cue. It says, "Oh, okay, the workout is playing. That's my cue to get out of bed, to get my workout clothes on now since I no longer sleep in them, and get going." So you can do the same thing in your business. For me, in my business, my cue is I grab my coffee, I grab my shake, whatever, my breakfast. I come up to my desk, I've got my journal out on my desk, and that's when I write out my big 3 of the day, and I do my gratitude journaling and all of that. It's a habit that I've gotten into. And then I do a much bigger thing with my calendar, that is for a whole other training that was taught to me by my business coach, called Zero Balance Time Blocking, where pretty much every hour of the day gets accounted for. That we'll do that in a future training. And the last thing is make it satisfying. You want to make it satisfying in the immediate. So here's the thing. Our brains were designed for immediate response, right? So, we do something, we get the immediate feedback. We get the dopamine rush, we, feel good and all of that. But over time, our brains have evolved. And now we're living in a world where so much of our outcomes are delayed, kind of like, working out and that kind of thing. So you don't see the results of what you're doing right now. So what you actually need to do is to think about the end of the task and what you will do to reward yourself. So in the case of Jerry Seinfeld, it was the X on the calendar. That was the reward that served him. For you, it could be taking a break and going for the walk around the neighborhood. For you, it could be a task that you maybe find more difficult. You wrap it up by going, as soon as I'm done with this, I can move on to something that I really love. Maybe it's, I don't know, it could be adding inventory to your growing inventory of staging stuff. Whatever that looks like for you. It could be as simple as you get to go refill your cup of coffee. It could be you shower. Like that could be a nice treat. As soon as I'm done this, I will go shower. And you get some time to just reset and recoup. So you want to think about how, as you're working to build a habit, how do you reward yourself at the end of it, right? So I tell my students, one of the things that I do that is both a reward and accountability is, at the end of my workout, I take a picture of my workout equipment and I shoot that over to my husband, so that I have like that is like a little reward to me. Like I'm sending him the, hey, look what I did today. And that it's also reinforcement because he's my accountability buddy there. So the last thing is having grace for yourself. And this is an important one, because without having grace for yourself, you can very easily take yourself totally off track. And as you grow your business, there are so many times when you will not meet your goal, where you will not, even with the best habit established, you will fall off the wagon. You will lose momentum behind it. You will be in a place in your own life, maybe personal things, that are making it challenging for you to get things done. And what I want to say to you is that is absolutely okay. It is normal, and it happens to all of us. But the difference maker between people who ultimately succeed and those that struggle to succeed is that they are willing to look at it and go, okay, all right, that's it. That for today, that's it. But what I'm going to do is, in the next moment, when I have an opportunity to make a decision about this, I will make the next best decision, rather than saying, oh my God, I haven't worked out in a week, so now forget it. I'm out of it. I'm out of the habit, and I'm not going to work out again until I feel like it, which will be like never, right? So you've got to have grace for yourself as you work through this. And remember that the most challenging part of creating any habit, which evolves into routine, is the beginning phase of it and getting into place. But what you'll realize is once you have done that work and you have made it easy for yourself, you've made it attractive for yourself, you have made it satisfying for yourself, that you will then get in flow, and you won't even look back, you won't even remember how hard it was in the beginning to get that. So I want you to be kind to yourself, but I do think if you can at least start by creating some structure around your day, your week, and giving yourself some tiny little things that you can be super successful with. Like, so simple. With a workout, 4 minutes, I could do that. And when I did 4 minutes, I was like, I can keep going for another four. You know what I mean? Like, so I want you to think about that in your business, and also for your clients. Sometimes that's what they need, right? They need little micro steps, micro fractions of actions in order to do things. So anyway, I'm going to open it up and see if there are any questions coming out of this, and go from there. I see. Oh, hey, thank you. Oh, good. Oh, hey, Missouri, thank you so much. Good. Yeah, I'm telling you, the research around this is amazing. And when you read the book, the two books that I always recommend are The Compound Effect, where is it, by Darren Hardy, and The Atomic Habits by James Clear. They will help you really understand why you move forward in some areas so easily and why you don't, and why you have success. And the last piece is really that most important piece is having grace, because understanding that there will be failure and observing it, just being aware of it. One of the things that I think we do is we set goals for ourselves as a way to beat ourselves up, and that's not really the point, right? We set goals for ourselves because they are something to strive for. They're a construct for us to look to grow to in the future. But there's a whole lot of in the moment that we've got to manage in order to get ourselves there. And so by understanding how your brain is wired to work and to create those habits, or to create the bad habits, it's going to help you so much more in the long run. So anyway, I don't see any questions coming up about this topic, but definitely reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. Post them below. I'm happy to answer your questions. And I just want to share that I have open enrollment right now for the Staging Business Bootcamp, which it's kicking off all this week, and enrollment is going on for this whole week. I'd love to have you join me where we dive into these topics even further, and really help you begin to map out and worksheets and things like that to help you just get a clear understanding of how you can create these habits and frameworks in your business. So, and that you can get that at rethinkhomeinturiors.com/SB2. Staging Business Boot Camp. So SB2, listening. Yes, great. Thank you, Shani. Good. If Catherine, are you on? Can you post that link for us in the comments? rethinkhomeinturiors.com/SB2. And I will be doing a free training about this tomorrow as well. rethinkhomeinturiors.com/staging biz secrets. If you want to come in and listen to that free training also. So, all right. Doesn't look like we have any questions coming through, but I will see you next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. for our next training session. I don't have what it is, but it's going to be good, I promise. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Okay, great. Oh, I'm so glad you're finding it helpful. This is super helpful. I'm telling you, this is, I always tell people, learning these things and this framework and the structure is what really got my business humming. So I talk about it a lot because of that. So awesome. Great. All right, everyone. I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day.